Okay, everything looking good with the connection, everything looking good with the speed. How is everybody? Welcome. Let's see. There were already some people in the chat, but let's see who's here. Hello. It's taking a while because I'm at the lower latency, so the chat is going to be a little bit slow, I think. You guys will see it as well, how long it will take for your messages to kind of pop up over here in the chat thing. Took a while for some of these messages. Anyway, welcome to the feedback stream. As always, we're just going to listen to some tracks and give some review. And we'll all have a little bit of fun listening to some music. There are already some tracks submitted. What we also have is, let me quickly check here. Also Patreon, yes, 1 and 2. We have 2 Patreon songs. And because the Patreons, they get priority in the feedback streams, we're going to play their songs first. Yeah, so there's 2. So I'm going to start, and then we'll just go in order with the rest of you guys. So then everything will be in order, and you guys can continue to submit as well. Anytime the Patreon submits, he gets priority in the feedback stream, so just hop in. Like if you submit, just hop in the YouTube chat and notify me that you're a Patreon, and then I can play your track as the next one. Anyway, let's start with Psychedelic Underground Records, Sonic Flux, Night Safari. Hello Klaus, Tisla, Dubruccio, Davy, Ambrosia, and Psylac 3. Mr. Friendly. Check my volume here. Very mono, like that effect there that went towards the end. Kick and bass, it does look like it gets some influence from the bass line. I cannot really tell from the waveform, but if you're not resampling, then make sure that you resample. What's the name of your wave analyzer? All of this is Signalizer. Kev Human, how are you doing? It's almost like Dark Side, but structured like a progressive track, because it's slowly building up. I like it, but now the whistle sound that you have here, that plays every 2 bars, it's starting to get boring. Every time like the same melody, that one there. So I would probably remove it at this point and focus more on the synths. Kratos, how are you doing? There's very little progression in like this part, and the last one had the same thing. There is some very high energy drums on here, but the synths themselves are like very dark and very background. I would like to have those a little bit more up front. Psylactory, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
If you want a teacher, try a waterfall, or a mushroom, or a mountain.
You can post a few tracks, that's okay.
Storm-pounded seashore. This is where the action is. It's not back in the hive. It's not in the anthill. It's not knocking your head against the floor in front of somebody who claims that because of their lineage and whose feet they...
What you could do is make the vocals a little bit more stereo.
Credence to them.
And they sound a little bit bigger, in my opinion. Nicely matched to the beat. Yeah, you can see that this bass definitely needs some cleaning here, if you look at where the transients is supposed to be. My son, he approves it, nice. Everything could be more stereo. Yeah, the stereo field is definitely lacking a little bit in this track. Also the excitement from some of the synths, you know what I mean? It's all a little bit slow. I would have loved to see a little bit more grittiness to them. Just a little bit more attack sound, you can saturate them a little bit more on the attack maybe. I am a harsh critic, yes. I try to make people make better music. I do like this acid line, but also that acid line should be a lot more stereo. There's a nice stereo lead. It is kind of like dark progressive, yeah. There's some very creative sound design in here. I do really like the sound design. I was criticizing it before where it's not aggressive enough, but this is a space where, for example, it does really work. It just took a little bit of time to get to that high energy part. And even here, I feel like it could come through with a little bit of better mixing. I do like your high-end mixing. Just looking at the bump here for the hi-hats, that's always nice to see. I think what your track is missing is a slight boost like in this area, around 2000 Hertz. And that has to do with like the sound design being all very dark. Even here, the FM synth is mainly like in the lower parts here. You can see it existing mainly here in like below 1K. would have liked some more less intense or silent parts to have some more contrast. It was a little bit progressive in the beginning, I felt like. Overall, I do really like the track. I do really like the sound that you have here. Sounds very cool. I just think that there's some details that you could take care of. Next up, we have Rainy, and this is Close Your Eyes by artist name AC Dime. His Discord name is Rainy, so his artist name is AC Dime. Let's see. Close Your Eyes. There's a very high latency now with the new stream setting that I have to do for the connection. It's kind of annoying. Nice clean progressive bass line. I like it. Clashes. It's hard to tell where you're talking about because of the latency. So I'm just gonna trust that it's something that I overheard or something like that. I do like the nice dark vibe that you've going on here.
But it makes this weird sound.
I would like maybe some more high-end action, maybe like an offbeat open hat, something like that.
But it makes this weird sound.
They classify 5 levels of the psychedelic experience.
Greedo, how are you doing? I like your play with the stereo field here. That was happening on the main plug. What I do think is that the main plug idea is a little bit worn out. Maybe we should, at this point in the track, try to change it to a different sound. Hello Sai, welcome, welcome.
Have you seen the wonder of the universe?
I like the idea of the vocal opening up like that, but I do think that in the beginning it's a little bit hard to tell what is being said, so it's a little bit too close, a little bit too many frequencies taking out from the high frequencies, I guess. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Didn't do a whole lot today, but some creative work. It does sound a little bit like it has some strange pitchy vibe to it.
makes this weird sound? This weird
I
sound.
like this. Nice and clean.
But it makes this weird sound.
It can be that there's a little bit of detune on the patch, yeah, on that plug thing. I do think that you're using it for too long throughout the track. Here we should be going to a new element again.
Have you seen the oneness
Of the universe. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
They classify 5 levels of the psychedelic experience. They classify 5 levels.
Feels like this part is missing a little bit of reverb on some of the sounds. Like there's a lot of delay, but some of the main sounds feel like they don't have any reverb. I would add like a small room reverb to them. You don't want to clog up the mix too much. A little bit of an empty section here. I would say this may be a little bit too empty here. I would like to see another main synth in here, to be honest. You can use that also to fill up the section before there.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Very cool. I like it. Overall, the sound design was very nice, and it was all very similar in terms of the character of the sounds. So that was very well done. Where are we? Here. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through, unless there are other patrons that have submitted. Let me quickly check. We have another one from Psychedelic Underground Records. Is it okay, because that's the second track of his? Is it okay, but you can play another track before? Yeah, I will just play a few of the other tracks and then we'll get back to you, okay? I'll just mix it up a little bit so that now we get Don Don, The Art of Fighting. We have a very cool cover. Here it is. Looks very neat. The Art of Fighting by Don Don. Most importantly, kick and bass was spot on. Yes, I agree, yes. Good. And regarding that last track. A little bit of stereo. Why is it already high passing? That's one. Two, it needs to be cleaned up. The bassline needs to be resampled. The kick is okay. You're probably LFO tooling it, sidechaining it properly, but the bassline also should be resampled, because here there should be a transient just like this spot here. Kind of like this, but with a little bit more fade towards the end here. Another very slow, progressive but dark kind of track. Kind of like the last one, but in a different way. That synth sound is a little bit on the loud side, overpowering a little bit. And it also seems that now there's a lot of mud in the low frequencies. You can see how it's messing up the kick even here in the waveform. Some very cool sound design going on though. What I would say is your drums are a little bit, how would I say it, smooshed. For one, they don't really have that clear bump, they just have the full kind of frequency range. I like it when there's a little bit of 10k bump there, so that you get that nice fizzle from them. And I would like them to be a little bit more dynamic. Your drums, they feel like they're really washed out. Sound design is really cool. Very good use of the stereo field. It's just this one synth here, as you can see, is very loud and overpowering. It's because it's a fairly dynamic sound, I think, even here with the trance gate on it. I would say that the vocals could be a little bit more upfront. And you could have a little bit more of a riser into the drop here. I feel in general the synths are a bit dry. Yeah, some small reverbs would be nice. What you do have going for you is the fact that you're using the stereo field like this. Really cool play going on here with the way that things are panning and just moving around. Yeah, look at this. Now that the closed hats are in here, I think your closed hats might be too loud in regards to your open hats, because the open hats are usually the more dominant drum because they accentuate just the offbeat. So they are really what's responsible for the energy and not the closed hat like this. That also means structure wise I would start with the closed hats, and then at the highest energy parts I would also then add the open hats because they have a little bit more volume. again, that same lead. I would have loved a different lead here. Because this is your like final drop here, you could make something special here. Overall, the sound design is not bad, but it gets a little bit repetitive. And that's annoying, having to come up with many different sequences for a track that's 8 minutes long. But in my opinion, that gives better results than trying to reuse the same sequences over and over again and trying to make them somehow different. Overall, very well done. I like this. Next up, we have tie beats, reasons, system 1 and system 2, 140 BPM. Track from my EP check-in. Your feedbacks are always very helpful. Thank you. Guido. It's all on a very big delay, so interaction is not going to be my strong point today. But this is better than always losing connection. I'll probably retest the other one soon to see if it has gotten any better. Fairly quiet up until this point.
System 1, 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 system 2.
A very cool way of like building up the loop like this.
Most of us feel that we have reasons for what we're doing, but in fact, we do what we're doing very largely because of reasons that we're not necessarily completely aware of. And then when we're asked, why do you do this? We have reasons.
The vocal is very heavy in the low frequencies there all of a sudden. Is it just the playback from Discord that's so quiet? Ah. For some reason, Discord sometimes just turns my audio down. This is a lot better. Kick and bass definitely is going to need some cleaning. What I do like is that you're using the stereo filter a little bit. I would have liked though for the bass to be a little bit more plucky sounding. It doesn't really have a defined transient right now, it needs a little bit more of a click. It was the Discord volume, but I fixed it. Why is the offbeat hi-hat panned to the left? Everything feels very low in the frequencies. I would say that it has maybe a little bit too much sub here. The cleaning is a very big issue. It all feels very compressed and very smooth together, this track. Because of the very strong low end, you can hear how much. Do you hear the change in like definition on the synth when the kick and bass came back in? I hope we hear it another time. Even there. I think your bass is also a little bit too loud. Like 3 dB, 4 dB or something. But it definitely needs cleaning. And the snare here, for example, it also feels very smooshed together.
What comes up automatically in your memory. So, you know, when I say 2 + 2, something comes into your head. When I say your mother, an emotion comes. So all these things that are automatic.
You can hear the artifacts in the audio file because of this very strong compression that you're doing on it.
The slower thinking is distinguished really not so much by the fact that it's slow, though it's pretty slow, but by the fact that it's effortful and deliberate. So what you can do deliberately, you do in system 2. And you can.
Are you using OTT everywhere in your track? Yeah, you can see how much cleaning this kick and bass needs. The kick is completely being destroyed here by the bass line. This bass note is being destroyed by the bass line over here. Everywhere, but on the vocals, yes. Yeah, you can hear that the OTT is just compressing it to a point where you can hear the artifacts, so you're using it a little bit too much. I also like a little bit of compression like that, but I usually do like an amount of 20 for just that little bit of parallel, very strong processing that you get from there. But the whole track feels like very heavy, and that's partly to do with the strong low end that it has, in combination with the fact that you didn't clean up the kick and bass, so that means that all of the transients don't come through. I guess the final factor is that your drums don't really have any air, and I guess that comes because of, I don't know, how like perception of the low frequencies is applied to that, because I guess they are decent, but they sound almost non-existent. I would definitely like a little bit more of a boost here once the drums come back. Why are we suddenly completely mono? Look at how dark this synth here is. It doesn't come above 1K. There's nothing happening up top here. Yeah, they could definitely use the boost. That's part of the reason why this sounds so smashed together, is because the mix for the drums are just too quiet. Subject Ultra, welcome. I'm also not a fan of this random panning to the left thing that you're doing for your offbeat hi-hat. Sounded like the bass and the synth were not in the same key/scale like 20 seconds ago. To be honest, I'm so bad with the music theory side of things. This part here. I normally pan the closed hat to the left. Why? Perché? Why would you do that? I know there's going to be too much delay to have a discussion on this, but to be honest, the drums generally should just be mono. But I think I said that at the beginning of the track. What else do we have? Next up we have Ratus here, I think. Don't know where he got this panning thing. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like, why would the left channel need the hat? I do like a little bit of randomizing on the hats. If you want to, you can do like 10-20% each way and then just randomize it with an LFO, something like that. Slide panning, but this was hard panned, this one. Anyway, I want to move on to the next one actually, because otherwise we're never going to get through them. This is Ratus, Racing the Sun featuring Shy and DJ No Comply. I don't know what this is. He says, really don't know if this is your genre, so it's probably not. I don't know, let's just see. Maybe some normal trance. That's that kind of vibe.
I want you around, I want you here. You are the one to take away my fear.
Nice vocal mix.
So come on closer.
Nothing to say, it's just a clear vocal.
And let me hold you near, oh hold you near. I look inside my soul and ask myself, will my heartache never end?
That faster sequence could be a little bit more stereo, I guess.
We wait for night to come.
But now you're playing with the stereo field. I do think that that's a huge thing in trance, because you want that over the top kind of big sound, and that you get partially by just having a big stereo field. Okay, didn't expect this. Sounds nice, I like this. You should, I mean, you must clean up your kick and bass. I should just say you must, because it is a no-brainer to just resample the bass line, don't apply any filters, fade it out here, make sure that the kick transient doesn't get messed up. Overall, I like the mixing. The only thing that I'm missing is, again, that little bit of air that you get from the high frequencies. Mainly from like your drums. I guess the same applies here that applies to sidetrance, and that you want that little bump to get that crispiness from it. Kind of like we had for a moment there. Nice low end. I do agree, yes, the rest of the mixing, also the lower frequencies, is very, very well done. I do agree, Acidan. Why would you question this if we wanted to hear this? This is, I mean, it has some, like, even psytrance elements to it, I would say. It is, like, a little bit more trancey than the average track that we hear, with the singing and stuff like that. but it's just fairly progressive. It could almost pass as progressive psytrance. Here comes the final hard cell drop. Yeah, the snare still missed that. Ah, I didn't even notice. I guess, yeah, I didn't notice because it wasn't there. I do like the nice kind of genre blending that you're all doing here, because this is clearly like inspired from hardstyle, but it's not really an actual hardstyle drop. The snare would be, now that you're pointing it out, it would be really nice to have, yes, at some point. Very well done. I really like that. Next up we have Tisla with Mad Harder Update. Mad Hatter. Ah, he shared this track before. So this is Mad Hatter by Tisla. I also listened to Jumpstyle when that was a big rave in the Netherlands.
You're all mad. Thanks very much.
Kick and bass is nice and clean. Like what you're doing here. Mix-wise, I like. This is the kind of high-end fizz that I'm talking about. Do you see? You can see it in the spectrum here existing, right? Just has a little bit of extra clarity to it. Did I do the dances? Yes. In fact, I may have won a competition at some point at my school. I would say that the main synth that is playing here is a little bit loud, and it also gets a little bit boring, I would say, towards the end there. Back where it becomes the fill, I would maybe glitch it up a little bit more or something like that. Very stereo, yes, but I do like this kind of stereo field. This is a proper stereo field. This is also, you have to take into account that this is mastered here, right? So this graph should continue here, but you can see it just bumps up towards the maximum limit here. Here you can see the work of the limiter in the stereo field actually. I know there's a filter on there, but the main synth that you're using here just kind of sounds still like a saw wave. Maybe a little bit more sound design with that could make it a little bit better. I do like the melody that you're working with though. Just maybe a little bit of filter action, add like a chorus or dimension expander or something like that. And make it a little bit quieter.
You're all mad. Thanks very much.
Good tracks today. Yes, I agree. I like this one. I do feel like though, at this point, because you're trying to do everything with this main synth here, it's getting a little bit stale. That's why I was already complaining about the synth. When you're using the same sound over and over again, you really have to make some changes even between sections that you're using it, so that it becomes interesting. Usually I just remedy that situation by making a new sound for different sections. Right, not reusing the sound for the different sections that I'm working on. Typicus, how are you doing? Long time no see actually. Tracks in the club, if they are dancing, it's dope. I do agree, yes. What I'm doing here has nothing to do with like the track is perfect or unperfect if you don't implement the feedback or something like that. That's just like my take on the track. What I would do if I was maybe mixing the track or mastering it for you. J-Boy720, that one was Ratus, Racing the Sun featuring Shy and DJ No Comply. It is in the feedback stream group here. This one here. Now we're listening to the Tesla one here, the Mad Hatter. The stream has a little bit of latency. I like this part. I like the sound design here. I really like it all. I do agree, the tracks lately have been very, very high quality. Not just this stream, but the last few streams. The melodies definitely are very, very strong. Like this part here is really good. And this is going to have much more impact if you don't use the sound throughout the whole rest of the track, if you section it up a little bit more. I hope I can follow up the high quality after this. Well, actually, because you're a Patreon supporter, we already checked out your track at the beginning of the stream. That's one of the that's one of the benefits that you get nowadays on Patreon. I think I updated. Where did I say it? I may have made a community post about this, explaining this. But Patreon supporters now do get priority in feedback stream. If I didn't put any community post up about this, let me know so that I can do that. But that does mean that we already saw your track. It was a very, very good track. I did already give feedback on it though. So that means that we're going to move on to Creepy Frequency by Virtual Instinct, 148 BPM Final Project Master. I like it when I get masters. We have some creepy frequencies indeed in the intro here. What I would do if you want your kick and bass to have more impact when the drop actually starts, because this is not a drop, you can have the kick and bass quieter by like 6-7 dB. Because now it's already at the full loudness, so the drop is not going to have a lot of impact. Because the bass has already been this strong. You don't get that impact from here. And you also need to clean up your kick and bass, especially the kick here, but also the bass line. It's just bleeding into the bass line, so you're losing that transient power. Not a fan of the open hi-hat that you're using. I would just go with a 909. There's some weird delay thing going on in the background, like something from the intro is still delaying. Vocal could have a little bit more presence for it in the mix there. I would overall say that this is too sub-heavy. I would focus a little bit more energy towards like the mid-range and maybe even here at 200 Hz-ish, that kind of area there. I would replace that awful open hi-hat that you're using because it sounds strange. It doesn't really have a nice texture, in my opinion. You're also playing it on the kick sometimes. I guess that can work with a little bit of a rhythm. There's not a lot happening in terms of the sound design, I'm sorry to say. Maybe there is, and it's just very much in the background. Maybe that's also what was causing me to hear like there's still delay feel from the intro going on. But you can still kind of hear that wheel, wheel, wheel. Suddenly it became really loud there for one play, but it's still there in the background, kind of like wow, wow. Like this mid-range zoom thing. It sounds like it's going throughout the whole track. I can still hear it. Now it has stopped. It sounded a little bit strange. Actually very strange, because it sounded like a delay tail, as I said, that just continued from the intro all the way up until that point there. Maybe it is. Maybe there's some sound that is just on 100% feedback for some reason. You can hear how much more impact the first kick has because it is not being squashed already by the mastering limiter. In fact, I would say the mastering limiter is crushing this track too much as well. I can hear some limiter distortion on the sub of the kick. atmosphere is back again. It doesn't really work with the track, in my opinion. It needs to be a little bit more rhythmical then, if you're going to play it like that. Can you hear that crunchiness that the kick has? That almost undesired kind of distortion sound that it has at the, like right after the transient. That's cause of too much limiting. I think that this is mastered a little bit too strong, and I think that exaggerates a lot of the problems that we hear right now. Maybe even the like flat texture of the hat is caused partially by the amount of limiter pushing that it gets there. That can really suck some of the details out of a sound like a hat because of all of the aliasing that is happening. One final complaint I'll say about the sound design is that it sounds like you're only making the background sounds. There's no sound that really grabs your attention because they're all like low frequency here. So something that has like a nice grittiness to it in a section like this could really help your track just have a little bit more of a powerful sound. XC, how are you doing? Welcome. The chat is a little bit behind because of the latency that we have to use. I think he went a little overboard with the bass note, that's one of the drops. Maybe, yeah, there were a few points where it was a little bit confusing to follow what the track really was doing. There's some really cool sound design going on in here. That last part was really cool. I do think that, especially if you're going for a dark sci vibe, like you're going with your sound design, I would go with a much less aggressive mastering style and a much less aggressive kick and bass. Next up we have Happy with The Trip. That's also in the chat, is Psylactory. I hope I pronounced it right. I don't know. Pure kick and bass. And I would like to see you just kind of try to do a little bit more with different sounds. In the sense that you can still make the sounds like very similar in terms of texture, but always make a few different sounds for each unique section. What I usually do is for the backing sounds, you can use usually the same sounds over and over again, but especially for my main sequences, I always try to get a new idea in every section of my track. I actually play that right now so that you can hear. I'll take a quick break. You'll hear it in the project that I'll put up here. After my break, I'm going to come back with that one track that is from Psychedelic Universe. What's the name again? Psychedelic Underground Records, I think. He doesn't have his full name on the Discord. Yeah, Psychedelic Underground Records has another track. So we'll play that after the break. What is this feedback? Did somebody post in the normal feedback expecting it on stream, or? I don't look at the normal feedback when we do feedback on stream. So if you're posting it there, that's not the right spot. Okay, so we start off later with this. I'm going to take a quick break. Before I do that, I do quickly want to make a small little announcement, actually a few. First of all, the 26th, I have another track coming out. I'm going to play a different track than the one that's coming out today, but I might play it on later so that you guys have a little bit of a preview. I kind of want to keep it a secret, so maybe later on I'll let you guys vote. But for now, I'm going to play, I guess, this track over here. This is the one that we started on stream, but since then I have basically completed the production, as you can see. Still needs a lot of work in terms of the mixing and the final details and stuff like that, and I'm not happy with some of the sounds. You get the gist. It's still in production, but I've gotten very far with this project. I'm going to take a quick break, and once the track is finished, I'll be back, and then we'll continue with the feedback.
every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. Naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes, every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality.
You guys didn't see anything for a sec there. Thank you, Klaus. I'm really happy with how the break came out on this one. And this main vocal theme also works really well. You can hear some fills need some more work, stuff like that. While the outro of the track is playing, I do want to announce one more thing. I have a lot of announcements coming up. There's another big announcement coming up soon. I'm not going to tell you guys anything about that, but I have a lot of things to announce towards the end of the year here. Including, apart from my products, I now also offer mixing services. So if you're looking for a professional mix, I can do that for you. You can send me the tracks, there's details down below here. And obviously while you're here, you can check out some of the products, as well as a video that is apparently already in the playlist that should still be private for you guys. That's only supposed to be shown to the patrons. Please don't watch that. So if anybody is looking for a professional sound for their mix and master, send a track over and I will mix it and master it for you. Okay, so I'll temporarily delete this, but I don't accidentally play that. So next up we have Sonic Flux versus Cliff's Nightmare. These are two viewers that I regularly see, so it's cool to see them collaborate. So this is Psy and Psychedelic Underground Records in the chat for anybody watching. And the track is called Vortex of Obscurity.
Sonic Flux in collaboration with Silit's Nightmare. We start with Sonic Flux. And here is Sillet's Nightmare.
Follow me into the darkness.
Here we go.
Little bit of a troll vocal theme, but it's very cool. I do like it. Cool, would like to have a mixed track by you for a reference. I mean, that is a useful technique, yeah. Hit me up. We'll see if we can arrange something. Patreon link. They should be in my description, even for the stream, right? Member of the channel. Why is member of the channel still here? I don't provide that service anymore. It's not in my description for the stream. Does this work? No. That's not the link. It's definitely under my videos. Kick and bass. I should be listening to the track, I know. Kick and bass feels a little bit short to me. It doesn't really have a lot of power in the low frequencies. It also feels a little bit empty, maybe. Now it's because it's such a high octave. This I like. This tonality I like it when it's this dark. I would say here maybe the closed heads are mixed a little bit too loud. Could use some more dynamics as well so that they have a little bit of movement, a little bit of LFO tool. Love your videos and I've learned so much about producing. You're criminally underrated. Thank you. What I would like to see is if your sound design could be a little bit more in sync with what is happening on the track. It feels like whatever is happening in the track and the groove of the track is very detached from the sound design that is happening, all of the sequences that are happening. It's nice that the stream is not buffering anymore. It is nice for you guys, but the latency is a big problem. I think I'll just continuously do test streams to see if I can lower it again, because it is annoying having somebody like chat about something that happened a minute ago and you don't remember it anymore. I don't like that the bassline switches. I don't like this bassline nearly as much as the other one. I would just stick with the other one that sounded a lot punchier in that lower part there. I don't like it now when it's this high octave. Yes, this bass line. I like this one. I would stick to this one for the whole track. Although I do like the idea of switching bass lines for different textures and different parts. I just think the other bass line sounds a little bit strange. I like the old school sampling there. I do really like the structuring that you're using here. As I said, I'm not a fan of the switching bass lines, but since you're switching the bass lines and you're also switching the main elements with them, that does make a lot of sense the way that you're doing it. The bass switches between Silith and you. As I said, I don't really like the other ones. I like there's for me a clear favorite in one of the bass lines in this track. I think there's 4 in total if I hear it correctly. Like this one is the best. Piano piece is really well done. Instead of too many bass lines, switch up the hats. Something like that, yeah, I would much earlier go for more percussion changes, stuff like that. Kind of like your mid-range drums, if you have it. It is a fairly busy track, but that's kind of the genre, that's kind of how it works. So now I need to go back some people. We had the Trip, we had that. So now it's Sonic's Flux, Zendub that we're going to listen to, and then we'll just move down. Or are there more patrons? Not up until this point. Okay, perfect. So now we just go to Zendub by Sonic Flux. Some nice relaxed music. Gives us some time to think. I like it. Very spacious. That one sound that's kind of suddenly stops is a little bit strange. I would maybe add a little bit of extra delay on it. And I would like to hear a bass line accompanying this kick. Just maybe like a normal, slightly dynamic sine wave pluck, something very simple, but just something that helps with the groove. And you can then mimic that with some of the closed hats, which the track currently doesn't really have here. I would say that the reverb that you're placing on your top drums, the snare and the open hat, is a little bit too strong. I like those sounds to be like they sound a little bit more coming from the foreground. Adrian, how are you doing? Still don't have bass. We indeed don't have a bass in this track. And looking at the waveform that I see on SoundCloud, that's not going to change anytime soon. I do like the progression that you have going through the track now, again with the vocals kind of changing up like this. cool idea for an atmosphere, but I don't like that the spike is just continuously kind of playing here. I know it's panning left to right, but I would like to see some volume modulation as well over time. Because now it just becomes this kind of annoying beep after a while. There in the fill it did some really cool stuff, so there I would just don't touch it too much. And now at this point it really just sounds like there's this annoying beep playing, which essentially it is, because it's playing at the exact same way too much. So that's why I would do the volume thing. Modulation. Somebody again posting in the feedback group here. Very loud impact there. That's not what we want. Very cool track. I like that. Nice deep vibes, very well produced. As I said, I would like to hear a bass line that usually helps with the groove. And then you can also do something with some closed heads to accentuate the groove a little bit more. And other than that, there were some details I think that I pointed out which I didn't really agree with, or that I would change up a little bit. Next up we have No Name by Hire Zumi. Hey, still learning and trying, hope in some advice. I'll give you that. Let's see. It's unnaturally mono to start off with. In fact, it's completely mono. I hope you didn't export it this way. Or I'm going to assume that you exported it this way, sorry. But this is just some kind of rendering error. It shouldn't be the case. Sounds like a strange key there for the bass line to be in. It's also not really cleaned up here. It doesn't really overlap, so that's good. But it has a little bit of a strange texture to it. Like there's not really a pluck sound to the bass line. Sound design is cool. It's going to sound a lot better when this is in stereo. It's such a big sound, we'll have a nice stereo field. It doesn't really lead into anything, so that's something I would work on. What's happening to the asset line? It sounds out of key. And usually I don't hear those kind of things, so this is going to be a really bad example, I guess. I don't like this kick and bass. I don't see the idea of switching to different kick and bass here either. I would just use the same kick and bass, even though I don't like the other one as well. There's a very strange thing here that everything is so low pass. Nothing really happens. I'm not really a fan of the bass melody. Also because it repeats every 2 bars and it's a little bit repetitive now. Am I too mean? I'm sorry. I like to tell the truth of what I think. I think that's more useful than me putting up a facade here. That's why I'm like this. I don't know if I'm really mean or that's just a joke. Here what I would do is I would leave a little bit of space so that you have more impact to the for the drop. Just like a bar of a fill and then you go into the drop, because now it's building up immediately and then it's already at full volume, so the drop itself doesn't really have any impact. Is that the standard asset line from Silent? It sounded like it. It's one of the first presets that come with Silent, I think, from the factory pack. What the hell is happening here? There's just this wash of high ends. Drums really are there to determine a groove. This is lacking a groove because it's just the same frequencies at the same loudness all the time. It's also way too empty. Look at the spectrum here, just complete dip here. Too sub heavy this part as well. Like, this track needs a lot of work. I can definitely tell that you're a beginner. This part is not clean. Yes, I could tell. The hi-hats sound like they're a different BPM. Very strange idea. Because in the beginning it was definitely more psytrance and now it's like hard tech. I would say it's pretty good hard tech. A bit repetitive. No. It gets very repetitive very quickly. But I don't really like the overall tonal change of this track, where it's going. I don't think that this is going to be very useful in a set either, because you're not going to be mixing towards this kind of energy level. I would work on this some more. It's definitely not finished. There's definitely some things to implement here. I can pull some strange faces sometimes, yeah. Okay, so we've had those two. Now is Rui Reis with my mistake _120039.mp3. Let's see what you have in store.
Messed up, don't know where to turn with this stupid game. Can't escape this pain. Dear Father, for I have sinned. Just gonna stand there and watch me fall. I gave it all, you watch me fall.
I think we already listened to this track once. I'm not a fan. I think I said it the last time too, because I do think we already listened to this track. Like, look at the kick and bass here. This is completely messed up. So this definitely needs cleaning. But when it comes to mixing psytrance with this poppy kind of style, I don't think that this is the way to do it. sudden vibe changes. Yeah, it is. It's really strange. It does sound like modern pop music. It doesn't really mix well. I know you're going for a more progressive sound, and that's also why the future bass is included, but I don't think it does mix well. I would stop doing that, to be honest. Also get yourself a different snare. Can you hear the kick transients, how they kind of flop now? You can hear exactly where it's happening, where the bass line is cutting into the kick. You can hear that floppy sound to the transient. That's the issues that you're getting when you don't clean up your bass line. The future bass part also sounds very weak because there is no bass line. Right, this isn't really future bass. If you listen to an actual future bass track, you will hear that there's a lot more mid-range weight and a lot more power to it, because it's supposed to be an actual drop. In here it's kind of like a break for a psytrance track, so it doesn't really work. It feels just kind of randomly happening. There's not a lot of structure to this. Also, your bass line is louder than your kick. I'm gonna be dead honest here, it feels a little bit corny. It also sounds like a Rihanna track. Like the way that the melody works. And just kind of randomly stops there. I didn't stop it there. That's where the track ends. So I guess it's not finished yet. But I'm going to be honest here, I'm not a crazy fan of this one. Next up is Moonshine Funk by 9XZ. Let's see. Still work in progress. It's very nice cover art. Some cool starting atmosphere here. I like this. I like the combined sound design here. Very experimental, very cool. I like the tone of your kick and bass. Again, you would need to clean it up. You can see that your transients are almost non-existent on your bass line. Part of that is cleaning it up. Part of it is just getting more, transient out of it. I would just say about like EQing, making it the filter cutoff open up a little bit more so you get some extra click like that. I I would also like to hear a better transition coming from the intro, because it felt a little bit like one track just kind of stops and then the next one comes in. A bit of a better transition there could help. Very well done on the sound design though. Really cool. Nice and groovy there. Maybe some kickoffs for transition from the intro. I would just use some of the elements that were already in the intro, because you have set up that very strong kind of like funk theme to slowly transition into the drop. So you keep some of those sounds throughout the first section of the drop and just use them as one shots with a big delay on it like that. That way there's going to be some overlap, right, with the jazz elements, just like we have in this part of the track. And you maintain that theme throughout the whole track. A little bit more stereo field on some of your main synths could definitely help. What I also like to do usually for my background sequences, background effects, that kind of thing, is stereoize those a lot, because stereoized sounds naturally fall a little bit more into the background, especially when you're listening to it in mono. So that's actually a nice mixing trick as well. You can free up some space in the mono field for the sounds that are actually more important.
What?
Very funky stuff indeed, yes. Well, time for the couch, enjoying some movies. Have fun. Have fun, Davey. Thank you for stopping by. I know if the latency is already gone, but still. Especially like the analog elements to it, so all of the instruments and stuff like that are mixed very, very well. I would like to see that same kind of attention to detail on the leads, as I said, in terms of the stereo field mainly. Here there was a nice track, that was like a nice zooming around effect, I like that. Sorry. Getting winter here too, so I might be getting catching a cold here. very good to me. More stereo, as you said, and you're done. Pretty much, yeah. More stereo, cleaning up the kick and the bass. I would like a little bit more transient coming from the bass line, as I said. But I like the mix, I like the balance, I like the brightness of the track. Overall, it's very, very good production. Sound design is on point. Obviously, your theming is very, very strong with this one, with the whole funky theme to it. Also here, with ambiences like these, because it's supposed to be like a real space, I would make it stereo, right? Because you can hear, it's all coming from the same place. That's not how it would be in real life. Sometimes the sounds would come from the left, the other times the sounds would come from the right. And you can just kind of do that with creating a wide stereo field, because that's automatically kind of going to take the different elements that make up that ambience and pan them together. Overall though, very, very nice track. I really like the production. Very well done. And next up we have Histro with... this is part of the track that I made from the reference track. There are some sounds that I'll remove as the project is very unfinished, but I'm curious to think what bass envelope and bass transient, no mix, no master, 2-minute cut from the beginning of the track. So that is artist name sample 220 BPM D unfinished, no mix, no master dot wave. Is it going to tell me about the viruses again because it's you? No.
Quantum physics, in very succinctly speaking, is a physics of possibility.
A little bit more vocal effects would be nice. I like your kick and bass here. It obviously needs cleaning up, but this is an unfinished project, so I can expect that. But the envelope is good, yeah, and the tonality is good. It's kind of strange that that pad doesn't play for the last bit. It doesn't finish the melody. It just feels a little bit empty here towards the end. This is very well done, I like this. I do like the sound design. I wouldn't say that this is bad sound design, I like it. At this last part the track is getting a little bit confusing and irregular. Now with the pitch change, but also some of the other elements that we're playing towards the end here. What's happening now doesn't really make sense to my head. I not always sometimes say that in a bad way about high tech, but it like structurally doesn't make sense to track anymore. The art just kind of comes in randomly. But I guess that's still because this is a work in progress. Anyway, there's another one here. The main focus here is the synths sequencing, but the bass line is very experimental. I made with the famous bass synthesizer VB1, free VST from Steinberg. As far as I understand, that thing doesn't even have filter envelope, and I'm also curious to see what you think about this bass line. Anyway, this is the track. This is Learning Project External Effect. The artist's name is Learning Project. I like that. 190 BPM in D. This one has to be scanned for viruses. Anyway, this one might be a little bit more spicy by the way that it's set. Learning Project, maybe something a little bit more experimental. I like your atmosphere in here. I like this. Sounds good. What's with that volume then? I like how the way the melody is sequenced here, but the synth sounds a little bit strange, especially the first one that we heard before. It doesn't really seem to have any kind of structure to it. And that volume thing, whatever is doing that volume thing, I don't know what you're doing there. You should probably not do it. Spam was on the demo mode. Okay. At least you know it's by accident and not something you decided to do randomly. Getting a little bit boring at this point. I guess this sound design is always the same. Even here, like texturally, it might be a different sound, but it's very similar to the sounds that we've heard up until this point. Same is true here. Here, every 2 bars, it's the same sound playing. It's a different modulation, yes, but it's still the same sound. And you have so many cool sounds in here, like the breakbeat and all of that stuff. You can use that in the drop as well. So the sequencing isn't good. No, I'm not a big fan of the sequencing that you're doing. What I say with the sequencing here is what I mean with this synth here. It's just the same synth playing every 2 bars, right? Very similar. Yeah, the modulation changes, but we can still hear that it's the same sound. So that's what I mean, mainly. Like, this is already a lot better. In fact, I like that part. Every everything else is in rhythm too, and then you have that very strong melody on top of it. I would remove the snares there and really let the melody just stay. Random click there. At this point the melody should be removed because it's lost its magic, right? You don't want to play it for too long. So you should have a different element there that is doing the job of that melody in providing the stable sequence, because you already have the random synths kind of playing, even in this section, right? And here try to use a few different types of sound design and alternate between them on top of your main sequence that maintains the rhythm and keeps the rhythm. I do like your sound design style though. You do have if there's one more positive thing that I want to say is that the sound design is very good that you're doing. How long have I been streaming? It's been 2 hours. I'm gonna play another few tracks. We have another Patreon track. This is by Synaptic Spiral, also from Psychedelic Underground Records, but I think his other project. And this is called Work in Progress. And then we'll continue with Dippy Gus. For those that don't know, Patreons get priority. I'm not really a fan of that pitch bending up sound. I would remove that actually, just completely. It just consistently sounds out of tune. I think all of the other sound design is very cool, but it's very distracting that synth sound is on there. The bass sounds very weak. I like your kick has a nice punch to it, but the bass line is very weak sounding. I only noticed now because before I was just focusing on the crazy stuff that was happening in the synth. Even here the synth is very, very crazy. And it's very crazy sound design, and somehow it becomes boring because it's the same thing over and over again. Every bar. It just... Sudden introduction of a techno kick for no reason. I like this. There's some cool ideas in here. I do like the sound design that you have going on, but I think it's going on for too long now. Also, that sound that's not in rhythm, what I would do is low pass it a little bit, maybe get like 12k, and also lower it a little bit in volume because it's going to oppose the main rhythm of the kick and bass that you're setting up. So I always tend to mix those kind of elements a little bit quieter. Excuse me. I like the sound that is coming up in here, these parts. The zap, I mean, and the low sequence. Not really a fan of the riser here. Again, sound design wise, I really like this track. It's just that the mixing is off a little bit, the structuring is off a little bit, and the kick and bass is very strange sounding. The bass line has a lot of weak. It doesn't really have a lot of energy to it because it's lacking a lot of that power. I like your use of the drum loop here. I wouldn't do it multiple times, I really would do it just as a fill. I'm not a fan of it repeating this many times. Especially if the glitch is going to be the same every time. Build-up feels like it's in a little bit of a random spot. Where are the sequences? Oh, that's just the end, okay. I think that's just not filled in yet. Can we take music tracks from YouTube to mix? No. No. For one, you need copyrights, so you need permission to play something if you want to post your mix on YouTube or something like that. Even if you want to play on stage, I think you need to have copyright permission. Anyway, next up we have Dipigus with San Pebros Rippled. So San Pebros is the artist name. Very nasally sounding bass line. I like it. I like the tone that it has. what can happen if we take vocal from the film and there are music that cannot be cleaned from the vocal? What do you mean? Like, if you cannot clean it, then you cannot clean it. You would, I mean, unless you're trying, or you're saying like the AI that you're using it doesn't do a good job of cleaning it up, because usually you use AI for that. Really, the track is picking up some speed. I like this. I like the progression that you have. Moment of more peaceful sound design. I like it. Where the track needs to pick up some speed again, which it's doing. Very tight production, very tight sound design here. I like it. Mexican style. I didn't know that. I knew psytrance in Mexico is also very big, but I thought they were more into high tech there. I mean, I guess if you're into high tech, then you're also probably a fan of Dark Side at least. I like this little distinct melodic thing that you're going on here. I think I can hear some of my tones from the tone spectrum. Can that be the case, Diffigus? I feel like that FM synth that just plays at the beginning of the section there. Something fell downstairs. Ah, there's people. Ah, Dada's back. Okay. I thought I heard something from the tone spec, but he has also like one single cycle waveforms. If you get the volume 2 from the tone spec, you'll definitely hear a lot of this similar kind of sounds. The very first wave cycle in there is like a very gritty FM synth. It's really good. I figured if you're doing something like this, you would definitely use those wavetables as just like a starting point for this kind of stuff, right? But I guess that upside wavetables are also, they give you a little bit more possibilities because they are also obviously wavetables, so it comes with modulation. But sometimes if you just need a static tone, browsing throughout the different tones is definitely a good way to do that. Anyway, I want to take another quick break, and in the meantime I want you guys to vote on this poll here. Do you want me to play the track that I have releasing the 26th? Or do you want me to play something else? In essence, what I want to ask is, do you want me to spoil the track for you guys? Or do you want to hear it and be surprised on release? Let's see some results. You guys can vote here. That would be nice. It's gonna take a while with the latency to come in. I'll just wait for a little bit to get some of the answers in here, and we'll see. Hello, Mr. Hello. Welcome. It's gonna take a while because of the latency for everybody to actually see it and vote. But for those that haven't seen it, please check out the link and vote here. I don't really want to go off of one vote, but we're getting some more votes in, so hopefully when we have 3 or 4 votes, it will be decided whether or not I spoil the track or if you guys want to keep it a secret. Some more people are spamming in feedback here. I don't know if if they actually care about getting it live on stream, because I did type there that they shouldn't post it there if they don't want, or if they're not after live feedback. There are 17 people here, but a lot of people are also watching in the background and doing other things. That's okay. It does seem like the overwhelming majority does want me to, or not overwhelming, but a good majority wants me to play it now. So that's what I'll do. My track live here. It's a little bit of a different track. It's a lot more progressive than what you may be used to from me. but I got the chance to work on this remix, so I took it, and this is where I decided the track should go in terms of the sound for it. So this is the final master, and this will be releasing on the 26th. I'll be right back.
You are still the process.
See
not something that is a result of the Big Bang, on the end of the process. You are still 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 the process.
Glad you guys are liking the track. I really appreciate that. Hope you guys are going to come out in mass for the release as well.
You are still the process. 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 You are still the process.
Okay. More tutorials on sound designing. More are going to come, yes. Of course. I'm always making new tutorials. A little bit of homemade iced tea. I don't know which tea this is, but this is a really good one. I never really organize them when I make them and put them in the fridge, because I make them in batch. Much easier to make them that way. But I found this one tea that seems particularly well designed for the making of iced tea the way that I do it. Anyway, we should be moving on to Fuck Noise by Damon 146 F sharp. Tom Zamproni in the Discord. Tom Zamproni. This track does not exist. Unfortunately, the track that you sent, the link that you sent, doesn't work. So I cannot really play this. It does give me the preview, but then I click that and it doesn't exist. Maybe if I go on your profile, I cannot even find the profile. Doesn't seem to work, your track. Where's this music available? The track that you just heard will release on the 27th or the 26th, sorry, and then all links will be available everywhere. Okay, you'll send a new link, perfect. $500 ARS. Thank you very much, Maximiliano. I have no idea how much that is in dollars. Can I see? Is there a way to convert? Not that it matters too much, I just appreciate the fact that you guys are donating. Thank you very much. It's a little bit annoying that YouTube doesn't convert that for you automatically, but what the hell. Anyway, he has placed a new link, so we'll listen to that and then we'll just continue down the line. This is Fuck Noise by Damien 146 BPM F sharp. Nice dark intro. We've had a lot of dark tracks today. Nice tone for the kick and bass, but there's a little bit too much stuff going on right here. Remember that this is still the first intro. This is still the first section of the drop, so it shouldn't be this full already. From this point, this is where it should be a little bit fuller. You have some really cool sound design going on, but the track feels a little bit boxy because of it. You have that kind of thing going on in the lower mids with a lot of delay on it. It sounds a little bit strange. I would try to clean up that frequency region a bit. Right now it sounds a lot better already. Maybe it's just that one synth. Sound design is really good. It's starting to get a little bit boring because it's the same sounds over and over again. So here there should be a change. Perfect. Oh, it's still the old sound there. Do you hear how this is still, that is still the main sound from the last one? I would not use that sound in here then. Because now you're just building up with the same sounds again. Nice little kick effect there. I like this, a nice transition there. So now you have this new lead in here, but the old synth is still in there. So I would, again, just drop that old synth, that scratchy higher frequency synth that is playing here. And just use this darker metallic synth that you have going on now for the whole thing. Real cool melodic stuff here. This also sampling some old jazz tracks somewhere. A little bit much going on here. Initial contact, is that your song on Apple? Yes. That's one of many. It's a very old song though. That was back when I just started out making psytrance. Strings, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the strings in here. They need so much attention to really stand out from a track. It also doesn't, it feels like a very happy melody on top of this dark psytrance sound. It feels a little bit off theming wise. there. I'm not a fan of the snare. It feels a little bit like a lifeless snare. It just sounds like some noise with a strong click to it. I like this. This is kind of the right coolness in terms of elements. You have your main element here and there's some background elements playing on top of that. Nice groovy bass melody as well. Violin is coming back, I think. Yes. I would not use the violin here. It doesn't really fit the track. I would just completely delete that idea if I were you. Sounds like it could be maybe a cool intro or a cool idea for the break, but it doesn't really fit on top of this kind of dark, aggressive style of psytrance in my opinion. Also, sorry Flying Soul for not greeting you. Welcome. What's happening here? There's some pitch bending happening on the kick and bass. You know, not pitch shifting, frequency shifting. Frequency shifting can introduce some major phasing issues on your kick and bass if you're doing that. So definitely take that into account if you're using a frequency shifter or a kick and bass, then make sure that you turn it off when the kick and bass is playing normally, or just put that segment on a different track or something like that. Just to stay safe. Anyway, next up we have actually another track. You can play this later. Okay, perfect. Then we have Uchina Force with Tris Ula Force. So the artist name is Uchina Force and the track name is Trisula Force. I'm sorry. Pronunciation is not the best for me. But we're seemingly jumping right into it. Nice slow tempo house beat, I would say.
If it's wrong, why does it feel so good? I feel better than I ever thought I could.
Slightly over-processed vocal. It feels like it's being masked up a little bit by the melody. It feels like it is slightly too much focus on the high frequencies. And it feels like it's being masked by its own reverb. Or some reverb. This vocal's clean, I like this. I would make a little bit more space for it though, the vocal. Here as well. Some techno. I think your rumble is too loud. Deep house. Would this be deep house or techno? I think this is rumbly, so it's techno, right? Here there is supposed to be a kick, but I think because the rumble is so loud it's overtaking it a bit. The kick doesn't really have like a lot of punch to it. It may be just that there's just low frequencies here. There was also supposed to be a vocal playing here, but because this part is so loud it was being smashed into the limiter and there's a lot of masking issues going on. This is a good idea, so you're cutting out a lot of the elements to make space for the vocal. That is already like solving the issue partially, right, from a production standpoint. There's still a lot of masking going on these like softer vocals that you've going on, so I would look at that. Something seems to be clicking. Like from the track or my audio or. So even here, it feels like the vocal is still being mixed a little bit or masked a little bit by the high frequencies, especially with this low pitch here. You're filling up the same space as the vocals, but you want to give the vocals some of their own space. Of the kick is there, but the transient really isn't. This track loses a lot of punch, I think, also because it is mastered very, very loud. I know that's the goal, and the mix I like the balance as well. I like the high frequencies versus low frequencies and that kind of stuff. But it's losing a little bit of the life by it being squashed so much. I think maybe if you go a dB lower on the input gain on your mastering, then it should be a little bit better in my opinion. And you should probably clean up the kick and bass in the same way that we do that in Psytrance, usually by just resampling it, adding some fade to the end so that the next transient of the kick has enough space to come through. And when you're doing kick rolls like that, obviously make sure to resample so that you don't morph into the next kick. Overall, cool track though, very unique, I like it. Next up, we did already listen to that. We have another Dipicus track. And then we'll play the Psychedelic Underground Records one. So this is Dipicus Work in Progress -1. Very dark start. It was very loud, that impact. Maybe a bit too loud. Nice transition into the kick and bass. It does need cleaning, but this is still work in progress, so I'll let it slide. Very nice textures in here. Maybe once in a while a little bit of a transcade to just have some of those textures, some of those atmospheres a little bit dynamic, so that they just go with tick, 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 you know, with the 16 notes. You can just put that on your atmospheres group and every once in a while just like increase it a little bit so that you get a little bit more dynamics in there. Kind of like the way that it's currently just kind of coming in and out, right? Yeah, there's some sounds they have a little bit of that transcade. So that should help with the energy. And now we have the sequences coming in. I like this. One thing that you can try for your bass line, seeing as you're going for more of a darker vibe, is to EQ out some of this area here, 400-500 hertz. You just dip it a little bit more, you tend to get a stronger body to the kick and bass. If you do that on the bass, you can also do it on the kick, but that usually goes against the punch that you want from the kick. But it can help on the kick too. I don't think it's necessary here. I think on the bassline though it can help. There's some cool sound design going on. I like it. Very nice sounds, yes, I agree. Very well done on this production. What I would say is maybe a nicer bass melody could help, because I feel like the bass melody is getting a little bit stale. Although I like the flowiness of it, so you could incorporate this idea in there and just make some alterations every once in a while. Every once in a while just does like an octave jump. I feel like we get the same kick flow every time. Here we're gonna have that thing there. And then it's like one beat pause, and now we're going to have that fill again. Do you see? It becomes a little bit predictable after a while. So I guess that's one of the things that I would focus on, is just more alterations to the kick and bass.
This stops. Is that a natural catastrophe or act of God or something?
Cool little break here. Nice and ominous sounding. This still feels a little bit unfinished, so I won't comment on this part here. Yeah, there was a little breakdown, but with the latency, I saw it already. Nice track. I like it. I like it. Very well done. So next up is, again, Psychedelic Underground Records, this time for the artist name Inverted World, with Primal Instinct Remix. This is otherwise known as Cliff's Nightmare. At least that is usually the artist name that he uses. It's Primal World Remix. Nice little stereo play. Welcome. Also on behalf of the other guys. It's a little bit empty here, a nice extra pad underneath it will help keep everything stable and together. Fan of the fact that the bass is stereo, but I'm not a fan of the fact that it's so short. I'm also a fan of the fact that it's clean though, so that's well done. What I would do is I would low pass this bass line probably at around like 7K, so that the kick keeps some more of the trance in, because you're going for a very dark sound, I guess. That will definitely help with that. Sharp. It feels very dark, almost like the bass line doesn't have a sub. I know it does have it. It's just a very short, very stabby sub bass. Okay, I'm not a fan of this open hat. Too long. The intro could be a bit louder in comparison. It could be, yeah. It just kind of came out of nowhere, the drop. Whatever sound you're playing here is not in sync with the rest of the track. Hear how it's not in the rhythm with the track? That vowely smeared out sound. Great ideas in there though. Yes, very much. Some very nice dark sound design going on. I like this open hat much more. I would just use this one throughout the whole track. It needs a proper volume mix. It needs slight rebalance. It's slightly on the bright side, this track, especially for a dark side track. And I think the bass line needs some work. It needs some more bottom end power. Again, if you want a track mixed by me, if you say like my feedback is useful and I seem to know my stuff, and you say like, okay, I want you to mix my track, make sure to check out the website where I've recently added the mixing services option, where you'll find all of the information necessary. And there's also my products and other stuff. Projectorsound.com for anybody wondering. A little bit of a boring segment here. And here we just kind of continue with the same sounds from the last drop. I always like, when I'm in my breakdown, to do something different. I know here there's the flute, but I would remove probably that vowely sound and maybe focus it more around the arp, open the arp up a little bit over time. I like this. I'm a big fan of the flute. Again, not a fan of this open hi-hat. I don't know if there's any closed hi-hats accompanying this part here, but they're definitely being masked by the open hat now. A bit of a strange key change. I actually like the bass line a bit more in this key. But it's strange that you decided to write this in a different key, this part here. Some of the effects, yeah, they are very loud. It feels off-key, this part, to be honest, because it changes key randomly. I think it's louder. Yeah, it's maybe louder as well. There is a psychoacoustic effect of bass lines in different keys needing different loudnesses to sound equally loud. So maybe because the key was higher and it just sounded louder because of that. That can be the case, but you should probably usually compensate for that. Anyway, it does seem that we have gone through all of the tracks. So that means that I'm going to say that that's it for today's stream. We did listen to a lot of music already today. There were a lot of submissions. I mean, we've been going for 3 hours, so that's normal, I guess. Some new people joined. Oh, nice. Okay, I like that. There were a lot of cool tracks today. As I said, soon I'll have a new track out as well. Live remix. The original by Synax. You should probably also listen to the original because there's quite a big difference between the two tracks. Last time I'll plug my products. If you want to check out some of my products, including my recently released preset pack. This is a very good preset pack. All of these I highly recommend. These are the best products in my opinion, but the other ones are also good. They just are a little bit older. Here's my volume 1 and 2 of the preset pack. For those that haven't checked those out yet, those are also great products. It's one of the best ways to support the stream, what I do here live with the feedback and all of the videos that I make and all of that stuff. And obviously the other one is making use of my mixing services, which you can now do on my website as well, projectorsound.com. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope that the feedback that I gave you guys was helpful. And I'll see you guys soon, hopefully. I want to do, I say it every week, but I'll try to do at least one production stream this week. Hopefully 2.